Well, hi there. Warm welcome. You're watching Blueprint Explosive Exclusive with me, Meghna Deka. Well, first up on the bulletin, we are going to get you this viral video which has sent shockwaves across the nation because it's a story of two versions. That's right. The CCTV footage that you see on your screen shows a SpiceJet employee slapping a CISF Jawan at the Jaipur Airport. This was triggered by a sense of shock and outrage. The woman who was caught on camera slapping the assistant sub-inspector Giriraj Prasad has now been arrested, and then she's out on bail. She was booked for assaulting a public servant. Well, moments later, SpiceJet issued a statement in support of its employee and the air hostess. In fact, they have said that the CISF officer in question of misbehaving with this employee. They say that this is a serious case of sexual harassment. Now, SpiceJet employee has also filed an FIR, a counter FIR against the CISF personnel, and in her complaint she has made some very damning allegations of sexual assault about the kind of lewd remarks which have been made. I'm going to get you some of those excerpts. We're going to put it out on a graphical representation. The kind of things which he had said, some of them include things like "Seedhe seedhe kahan ja rahi ho," and several other things saying "Hame bhi seva ka mauka do." In addition to that, the ASI allegedly made other derogatory remarks asking her how much she charges. In fact, he also seemingly, at least allegedly, has threatened her by saying that that in case she does not give in to his request, then he is going to make it harder for her. In fact, then these derogatory remarks were apparently also made on her body, and he even referred to her as a bazaru mahila. So these were the kind of comments which allegedly were made by the ASI, and this is really up to the viewers to decide what really happened. Of course, we're going to be looking into it, but for the timing, let's get you a look into what exactly it is that the lawyer is saying after SpiceJet has today stood by its own employees, saying that the CISF personnel had indeed misbehaved and sexually had harassed her. Watch this.
ये जो एएसआई था गिरिराज प्रसाद, इसके द्वारा जो पीड़िता है, विक्टिम है, उसको ये कहा गया कि एक रात का रेट क्या है, तो हमें सेवा का मौका दे, तेरी जैसी बाजारू औरत की क्या कीमत है। कुल मिला के कहना ये है कि ऐसी परिस्थिति हो गई कि उस विक्टिम का मानसिक संतुलन बिगड़ा, क्योंकि उसने इस तरीके की बातें उसको कही जो सेक्सुअल हरेसमेंट की हद है। विक्टिम की तरफ से भी एक एफआईआर सेक्सुअल हरेसमेंट के तहत एयरपोर्ट थाना अंतर्गत दर्ज कराई गई है। जहां तक सीसीटीवी फुटेज की बात करें तो इसके प्रूव होने के लिए बहुत सारे लीगल फॉर्मेलिटीज हैं। केवल सीसीटीवी फुटेज होने मात्र से ही कोई एविडेंस बतौर प्रूफ कोर्ट में प्रूव नहीं होती है।
In fact, CISF sources have now categorically denied any allegations of sexual harassment leveled against their ASI Giriraj Prasad by the SpiceJet employee. In fact, an internal committee inquiry has also now been constituted by the sources, is what they are telling us in CISF. They say that prima facie, it seems that the allegations made by the SpiceJet employee seems to be false and incorrect. Well, in fact, Times Now has also managed to access the FIR which has been filed, a counter FIR which has been filed by the CISF personnel against the SpiceJet employee. In fact, it states, I'm going to quote it from here, it says that I had stopped her at the entry point and no woman CISF officer was present there. She was in a hurry. She wanted to go in. I told her that she must undergo screening first. Without that, she cannot cross. She asked to wait for a woman CISF officer. The SpiceJet employee then wasn't ready to follow the SOP. She began arguing with me over rules. As the argument escalated, she slapped me. The woman CISF officers took her away. I didn't say anything, followed my duty, is what the man has claimed. Now, he, of course, is an ASI with the CISF. That is his version. On the other hand, we just got you the victim's version. Let me go across to our panelists. In cases such as this, what really happens? PK Jain is joining us, a former additional DGP of Maharashtra. Brinda Adige, an activist, is also here on the show. Mr. Jain, I'm going to come to you first. We have this video, which is the only concrete evidence. But we also have two very, very different versions of what really happened. What is the way forward in a case such as this?
Meghna, good evening. Thank you very much for inviting me to the show. I see the video. I also see a number of people present there. In fact, this slapping business took place in the presence of many other officers, including a woman constable who's present there. So apparently, there was already a heated exchange. It generally happens. You know, whenever your ego is hurt that you are not allowed entry, you are a regular employee, you always use that gate or do not use that gate. I don't know what was that everything will be proven in the inquiry. But the fact remains that she wanted to use a particular gate, and nobody can be allowed inside the airport without frisking, without checking. Now, the ASI says that he had asked her to go to a nearby gate and go from there, but she was not ready for that. In the meantime, the lady constable was called. But apparently, by that time, some more exchange of heated words had taken place. Now, what exactly was said at the heat of the moment, I cannot comment on that. But it was apparently a very heated exchange of words, resulting into the slapping of this ASI by the lady employee from the airlines, which is not done. If suppose the ASI was making lewd remarks and all that option was available to this lady employee to go to the senior officers. The airlines is in any case backing her up. Suppose she would have come up with a complaint like this, even otherwise the airlines would have backed her up. There was no reason for her to assault a personnel on duty. I mean, I'm very categorical about that, and she has to pay for it. And if at all it is proven in the inquiry that ASI had used such sexist language and tried to outrage her modesty, the department will be, or the law will be, very much free to take legal action against him also. So I'm not holding any brief for anybody, neither for the lady employee nor for the ASI. It apparently, the slapping part of it is just not acceptable. It's a non-bailable case. I think she will have to face the rigors of law now.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. In fact, I believe there was bail which was given to her. Brinda Adige, in a case such as this, what's the way forward for the woman employee? Because here we have to look at two things. One is if there was misbehavior and even worse, perhaps sexual harassment of a lady employee. And on the other hand, were protocols followed or not?
Protocols have to be followed. There is no two ways about it. But a man in uniform making lewd remarks, using statements and sentences that is appalling, derogatory to the woman's staff, well, that is unacceptable. And there is no way that he can escape. But like the previous panelist said, you cannot slap somebody in the heat of the moment. Whether he's a government employee or he's not a government employee, that is secondary. But slapping somebody is a criminal offense. And so she has been arrested and, judicial custody. And so now she has got bail. But what about this fellow? This fellow should not be arrested. This fellow should not be suspended till the inquiry is completed. Why is that man allowed to continue to be there? Because that will only increase his impunity. Saying that I'm a man in uniform, and we know that CISF people have a lot of power, clout and mandate and authority, and have known to behave rudely, not only with women, but also with other passengers, because they have a lot of power where they are talking about security of the country, security of other passengers. So that power can be seen often. And at 4 a.m. in the morning, this girl is going there with a valid permit to go inside. And if he has asked her to go to another gate and get frisked, then she should have done that.
Well, that's very interesting. But then let me put that point, the earlier point across to Mr. P.K. Jain. The fact that this lady, and rightfully so, because she must also face the consequences of law when she slaps someone, which is a physical assault. But Mr. P.K. Jain, there was no such reason, or perhaps there was no such reprimand or this kind of an action being taken against the ASI. Why is it that he's not facing any kind of action other than a probe?
See, one does not know, because eventually the action which is seen, which is clear now from this video, is that she's slapping the CISF personnel. It is not that whatever was going on between them. What is reported is that she was already accompanied with a number of employees from the airlines itself. I see 5-6 guys there, of which 2-3 are from the airlines and 2-3 from the police. This apparently the lady constable has come much later in point of time after the ASI requested for her.
Right.
So apparently there were witnesses. Now, if the witnesses are there, you cannot hold a person on duty responsible for stopping somebody for frisking, etc., and then getting slapped. So there no action. You just cannot think of an action at this stage. But I can tell you that the police or any paramilitary organization does not go soft on its employees if they misbehave or they behave in this manner. The person will be taken to task in case he's found guilty. We must believe the system. The system does take care of such characters. But first of all, his complicity has to be proved. And a court of inquiry, you already have said that it has been constituted, so that will look into it. And there would be witnesses from both sides. So let us see what comes out of it and what action is taken.
Would you agree? Because in case, and now there's already an inquiry which has been set up by the CISF as well. Internal inquiry has been set up. And of course, there are 2 FIRs, a counter FIR as well as a FIR which have been filed. That in case this man crossed the line, there will be punishment for him, but only after a probe. Brinda Adige, is that adequate?
I don't think that is fair, because I'm sure that somebody like him might have done these kind of things in the past and also got away. See, there is a certain amount of impunity when you are in uniform. There is also a certain amount of arrogance. And maybe this CISF would not have done something like this to a male staff, a male employee over there. Because she's a female, 4 a.m. in the morning, we must understand that these are things that happen routinely and commonly. Often people may not come up and speak, and sometimes they allow it. But in the name of security, making these kind of remarks is absolutely unacceptable. And the least,
let me take that point across to
that the supervisor
Mr.
should have done is put him aside for the day.
Along with the uniform, is it true that there is at times, not everyone, but there may at times be arrogance as well as impunity towards the same law that they are supposed to uphold? Mr. P.K. Jain, there have been instances, Brinda Adige is saying, which has shown in the past of high-handedness.
Meghna, myself, you, Brinda included, everybody must have been traveling to the airport very often. I, as an additional DG, if the police gives me a direction or the CISF officer on the gate gives me a direction, though he's much lower in rank to me, if he gives a direction, I follow it. Apparently, there was no reason for any heated exchange in the first place. I mean, this fracas should not have taken place had this lady employee gone by the rule. The very fact that she is not gone by the rule and she started arguing, it generally happens. I've seen sometimes even the pilots, they start arguing with the gate duty staff. They want a certain preference, they don't want to be frisked and all that. All those things do happen. It happens in my presence. But if the CISF officer is firm, sometimes they are also human beings. It's not that they will not lose temper sometimes. But as I said, such aberrations are looked at very seriously by the department. It never happens that they go scot-free unless there's a very minor incidents keep taking place. But if there's a major thing like this, a lady complaining of sexual harassment, I can assure you that these things are taken very, very seriously and action is taken. In fact, in the police department, I am from Maharashtra Police. In the police department, I can dare say that about 80%, more than 80% punishments in the entire government of Maharashtra are given to policemen. Can you believe it? More than 80% punishments, because here a guy remains absent for a day, he gets punished. He misbehaves, he gets punished. He misbehaves with somebody in the police station, he gets punished. So these are the kind of incidents which they keep facing day in and day out, and these are not the days today where everybody carries a video camera, everybody is a citizen journalist.
So there is a whole lot more evidence which is now available in this case, for example. But then what Mr. P.K. Jain is saying, wait till the probe gets over. If there is any misdemeanor which is found on the behalf of the actions,
it leads to a lot of demoralization. Yeah. It leads to a lot of demoralization in case action is taken. If the guy was performing his duty and yet he's taken off the duty, he's placed under suspension.
If wrongful action is taken, it would have led to demoralization. However, after a probe, you are saying that there is a possibility that in case he is guilty, he is going to be acted upon and strict action is going to be coming upon him if he is found to have broken any of the laws. Brinda Adige, however, says that action has been already taken against the SpiceJet air hostess. But why is there no action against this CISF man as well, considering the magnitude of the charges that he faces as well? Well, we are going to be tracking the probe on that angle very closely. Thank you so much, Mr. P.K. Jain, as well as Brinda Adige, for joining us with your perspective into that story. With that, a short break. Don't go anywhere.